Alright, so let's talk about the strongest characters left in One Piece. Not overall in the entire series, just, currently left. Because after Wano, there was a huge paradigm shift, and the power scale got flipped around a lot. We're down 2 Yonko and up 2 new Yonko. So there's only really like a handful of ultra powerful characters left, especially ones that can actually challenge Luffy. And speaking of him, let's just get him and everyone else currently in the Flower Capital right now out of the way. Kid, Law, Zoro, Sanji, we already know those guys are super powerful, but I mainly just want to talk about everyone else that's kind of on that Admiral level or Yonko level. First, we have Fujitora, and I think the last time we saw him was in chapter 957. He was in this ambiguous battle, probably with one of the warlords. Remains to be seen as far as I know, but Fujitora is still an admiral, so he's at admiral level, and we saw through his feats, especially in Dressrosa, that he's pretty powerful and is still going to be a strong adversary against the Straw Hats, and I think rightfully he's one of the strongest characters left in the series. Continuing with the admirals, we have Ryokugyu, who we just got introduced to at chapter 1053, and I think we got a good indication of his power because King and Queen were pretty much put there to job to him, because in that chapter he subdues them. We don't see what happened, but it had been a week, I guess, since they had been defeated by Zoro and Sanji, so I don't know how recovered they were, but I don't know if they were so weak as to where they couldn't defend themselves. But regardless, I think Oda put that there to show us that Ryokugyu is strong enough to take down 2 commanders by himself, probably. Maybe not at full strength, but he still did it regardless. And he is an admiral. But let's continue with the admirals, and Kizaru is still a thing. We haven't seen him for a very long time. I think the last time we saw him, he was asking Akainu if he can go to Wano, but then Akainu was no. And yeah, so that's it. Now Kizaru, obviously an admiral, one of the OG admirals, and he has the light Logia, and he's a super beast. We saw what he was capable of in Marineford. He didn't really do much, both offensive or defensive, or ability wise. I mean, he was fine. He did just as much as any other ancillary character in that arc, just enough to prove that he is at the top of the power scale for sure. But at this point, he's still easily one of the strongest characters left. So after him, we have the Rogue Admiral in Kuzan. Haven't seen him in a very long time either. It's rumored at this point that he is a part of Blackbeard's crew. Maybe he's the 10th Titanic captain, if that slot hasn't already been filled by Moria at this point. But, Kuzan still has the Ice Logia, still was an admiral, so he's still, admiral level. And we saw, what he did against Doflamingo at the end of the Punk Hazard arc, as well as just what he was capable of doing at Marineford. He's a super beast. We saw the end result of him fighting against Akainu, which took many days and pushed them both to their full limits pretty much. Now, I don't think Kuzan is going to be an adversary, at least for the good guys. I think he does have a hard face turn in him. It's kind of probably already started. But regardless, still, one of the strongest left quite easily. And then at the top of that whole little tier there with the Marines and/or ex-Marines, we have Akainu, the current fleet admiral, and I personally think that he's, probably just as strong as what a Yonko would be considered. And I'm not really too on board with the whole admirals are weaker than Yonkos or vice versa or whatever, but I'm just saying that if Akainu went rogue or something, I think he would probably be considered a Yonko. I mean, yes, he did get beat down at times against Whitebeard, but Whitebeard's a beast even in his old dying age. But I think Akainu was still super impressive in Marineford, probably the most impressive of the Marines, to be honest. And there's a reason why he was able to edge out Kuzan. I'm really looking forward to Akainu's future fights because his Magma Logia is just so much fun. And overall, I just really like him as a character. I think he's really cool. Now let's go over to the other 2 Yonko besides Luffy and Buggy, Blackbeard. So we haven't really seen Blackbeard do much post time skip, but we do know that he's an incredible beast. I mean, he has the Gura Gura no Mi and he has the Yami Yami no Mi. And also he was able to take out the remainder of the Whitebeard pirates, but from what we've seen of Wano, that probably wasn't too difficult, especially with his full crew. But also, there's still many unknowns to Blackbeard. You know, there's big speculation right now that he has at least one more fruit, if not more than that. He probably has like a mythical zone attached to him or something like that. There's something going on, which I'm sure will be revealed, where he's even stronger than what we even thought he was. And of course, he's very likely going to be either Luffy's final opponent or like his penultimate opponent. So he kind of has to be strong enough to compensate for that far into the future of the story. Then we have Shanks, and what hasn't been said about Shanks at this point? He might be currently the strongest pirate in the world. I mean, if the video games are any indication of what he's capable of, he's probably like advanced conqueror hockey master. Like whatever Luffy and Kaido were doing with it, I'm sure he takes it to the next level and can just like emit it like some kind of like raw energy source or something. I mean, we saw Luffy and Kaido were able to like physically attack with it, but the video games show that Shanks can like, you know, fire it like, you know, it's like DBZ energy or something. Now, does that mean that that's obviously going to happen in the canonical series? But we also saw that Roger's aversion to divinity, the attack that he did against Odin, lines up with, you know, what I was talking about with Shanks in the video games. And since Roger is a huge influence on Shanks, I wouldn't be surprised if like he adopted his style. With Shanks, you know, there's Mihawk as well, his rival and pseudo friend. We haven't seen Mihawk since the warlords were abolished and they like showed up in front of his castle. I have no doubt that he just easily wiped them away, but I do think that Mihawk is on the level of everyone else that we've talked about so far, if not stronger than them. Really remains to be seen. I know that he didn't look overly impressive at Marineford, especially because of his clash with Vista and his inability to completely take out Buggy and Luffy, but I don't think that really painted an accurate portrait of Mihawk's power, especially at that time when hockey and everything wasn't fully fleshed out. I think once we see Mihawk in action again, he'll, you know, rise to the current climate of the power scale and will, I think, pretty much prove that he's like on the Admiral Yonko level for sure. I mean, he's not Shanks' rival for no reason. And aside from that, he's considered the strongest swordsman in the world. And we've seen plenty of super strong swordsmen post time skip. So now there's two more characters I want to talk about, and they're kind of like wild cards because we don't really know too much about them, but the implications around their power, I think, is enough to put them in this video. So Dragon, Luffy's father, the world's most wanted man, and the leader of the Revolutionary Army. I have no doubt in my mind that he's pretty much in the same tier of power as everybody else in this video. I mean, he's the world's most wanted man, I think for more reasons than just being the leader of the Revolutionary Army and breaking the taboos of the world government and just, you know, directly conflicting with everything that they're about. It probably has something to do with how powerful he is as well. I mean, you can't just command Sabo, Kuma, and Ivankov without being, you know, like a super beast in yourself. And for years, we've been speculating about what his devil fruit is. And recently there's been more evidence around, you know, theorizing that he does have some kind of weather controlling fruit, if not just like an air logia or something like that. But regardless, he does have a devil. I think it's been made apparent in the series so far. And it's very likely one of the strongest devil fruits in the series as well. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that Dragon is one of the strongest characters left. And then lastly, let's talk about Imu, the shadow leader of the world government, the one who sits on the empty throne, and also the leader of the Gorosei. We don't really know anything about this character within like the actual canon of the series yet, but a lot of us speculate, including myself, that Imu is based off of Princess Kaguya from the Tale of the Bamboo Cutter. Meaning that, you know, Imu is probably like a female alien that comes from one of the moons of the One Piece world. So that right there probably just makes her super powerful. But I also think that she has like a devil fruit for sure, and it has something to do with water manipulation. Now, I don't think she has a water Logia, because I'm pretty sure that Oda said that that's never going to be a thing, and, you know, that makes sense. It would be too broken if there was a water Logia, and it would kind of break the series. But she probably has, like, a mythical Zoan that allows her to control water. And also the fact that she's, like, the leader of the world government, you know, so the Gorosei just wouldn't bow down to her if she wasn't, like, you know, an ultra powerhouse. And as I said before, with Blackbeard possibly being Luffy's penultimate opponent, if that was the case, it would be because Imu would be his final opponent, so naturally she would have to be strong enough to be his final challenge. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video today, guys. Let me know what you think about the characters I talked about in this video. If I left anyone out that you think should be included in here, let me know in the comments. And if you like the video, please give it a like, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.